Hey everybody, it's it's been a while, and I thought it was time for a little update on this channel, mostly because uh, I really enjoy making these videos, and I haven't for a while, and I got a lot of questions from a lot of very loyal uh, viewers, um, asking me if I'm okay and where I'm at and what I'm doing. So I thought maybe it's cool to have this little video to give a little update and also explain a little bit why I've been off the YouTube platform for a while, or internet in general, because I haven't been on social media in general so much lately, at least not posting. So as I have explained or shared before, I have this learn as you go kind of mentality that I've always applied. So while I was studying economics, I started my first business and applied that, and now I'm here learning about reading books about composting and then building a compost bin, sharing it on YouTube. So you know the video, you can find it on this channel. And so all those videos that are on this channel are a lot of them are the things that I'm doing are a result of something that I learned in theory by reading a book about it, and then, or a couple of books, and then applying it. And that's kind of how what my philosophy of doing stuff is. So this beginning of the winter, I thought I looked at the news. Well, haven't looked at the news for 5 years, but I heard the news. I am aware of the news from various sources and people, and I hear all this sadness and this war and this stuff going on in the world, and it made me think, how did we end up here? How did the system like we are used to as a society, how did it come up? How did it come to be? And for us, because at least for me, I've never really gave it much consideration, because it is normal, right? The law is the law. When you get sick, you go to the doctor. When you want food, you go to the supermarket. Economics work the way they work. I've studied economics, but I never really given it much more thought. Like, why do we have capitalism? Why do others have communism? Why is there different sort of systems, and why do we have this one? And why do we feel like this is the best one? Well, probably because we are in it. We are born in it. We're used to it, right? So me being me, and this is now we're coming to the part where I explain why I haven't posted anything, or for that matter contacted a lot of people, because I've been off the radar for a lot of people. I kept my head down and dove into this whole study, which I do, and some people might call it an obsession, or very strong devotion. Some people call it autism. You can give it whatever label you want. That is all fine with me. But I dive fully into it, and I shut off to everything else around me, and then I fully want to understand something. Like when I was a kid, I did not care about how to read an analog clock, and I still don't use it. I was going to say know how to do it, but I know how to do it, I just don't use it. I did, however, knew all the Latin names of all the cats, like the lions and panthers and that kind of stuff. Knew them all by name, where they lived, what they ate, how they lived, and what their Latin names was. I knew all of those things, because that was what I was interested in. So we could say that I'm not neurotypical in that way, at least. Usually these things that I addressed are things that are going on in my life at that moment. So, for example, when I watched Suits, like the series, which I thought was really cool, I get fully obsessed with how the law works, and then I dive into that, and I want to fully understand how that works. So I start to read, and well, that's a little bit how I do it. With composting, I want to know how composting works, so I read a lot of books about microorganisms and types of soil and that kind of stuff, and then I apply it, and I create a pile of compost, like in one of the videos that I posted earlier. This, however, was a little bit of a different story, because if you start looking at society as a whole, and our system, in particularly here in Europe, or Western European system, then one thing leads to another, one book leads to another, and before I knew it, I started somewhere at the Roman Empire, reading my way all the way to the present time, which I'm pretty much at now, and seeing this system evolve into what we now see as normal, but we don't even think about anymore. And the more I read about this, the more I get obsessed with it, but also frustrated by it. Like, why have we written down history the way we wrote it down, and why is it that if you put timelines over each other, different timelines, so if I read a book about medicine and I read a book about law, then why do they contradict each other in some ways, and why does it not add up? And that is a little bit what I went into over the past winter, and which I'm still very very much into right now. Not so much because, well, yes, because I fully want to understand how we got to what we now think is normal, what we believe to be normal. And what I realized is that I thought that it had always been the way it is, and it is just what it is. But this journey, this study, made me realize that it's not, that this is a very fluid concept. Like, the system that we know is very fluid. The law system that we have now is something of very recent. It evolved from the Roman law system, and before that even the Greeks partly. But we think that this is just the law, this is what it is. But it's not. It's very fluid. It's changing constantly, and it is still changing constantly. And then I think about our financial system. I didn't even knew that there was something else than. Well, of course I knew there was something else, but I didn't know what before capitalism, and then how capitalism came to be the thing that it is now, because it's certainly not capitalism as it was anymore. So I really dove into that, and I thought it started with taking notes, because I always, when I read a book, I take notes. So because if you read a lot, then sometimes you get things mixed up, and I wanna have that clear. So I always make notes, and then I can read back on my notes, and these notes turned into a whole collection of notes, and this collection of notes is now turning into half a book, and I still don't fully understand how we got here. So the main thing I'm at the moment taking from it is that it is not a solid thing, and it is constantly in motion, and it's constantly changing and evolving as we do. And if it is constantly changing and constantly evolving, that also means that it can change for the better. And the thing that I learned that makes up a system is the people in it. And believe it or not, you and I, we are the people in it. So the collective of the people all together have either created or allowed to be created the system that we take for granted right now, that we accept as normal right now. That also means that if we look at the world around us and the system around us, that we have not only co-created it or in the least allowed it to become the way it is, we also have a responsibility to change it, to make something different out of it if we agree upon the fact that it should be changed. And for me it is very clear that that I don't want to live in a world where some people are being bombed because of their let's say I don't want to live in a world where people are prosecuted in whatever legal or illegal way for being the way they are. And with that I mean like religion or the place of birth, the color of the skin, their sexual preferences, their religious preferences, religious beliefs. Maybe it's not even preferences, maybe it's just the way they are, right? Most of the time it's just the way they are. And I don't want to live in a world where people cannot be the way they are, where people have to hide the way they are because otherwise they are in danger. And we all say that, at least I hear a lot of people say that, but then taking into consideration what I just said, that the world is something that we co-create constantly, that also gives us a responsibility to do something about it. Because we are currently creating the system that we live in, the system that we take as normal. And I want my normal to be different. Living in the forest like this, living close to nature while having an office job, puts me in a quite a unique position between both worlds, or between two worlds, I should say. One that is fully based on. I work at the office of an online store here in Sweden. So that is capitalism all out, consumerism all out. And in the other hand, when I drive home to the forest, to a place where we recycle everything that we use. We try to plant our own food. We try to live as close to nature as possible with zero waste in any way possible. So physical waste, but also waste in the brain. And I will explain more about that later in one video, maybe if you're interested. That gives me a unique perspective on the differences of possibilities that there are. And for that reason I'm at the moment working on or thinking about how we can compost this old system, because you cannot. Some people say, yeah, we have to change this whole system because it's rotten and it doesn't work, and probably that's true, but you cannot just from one day on to the other change the system, because then everything will collapse and it will be full chaos, right? So instead of changing a system, we should continue doing what we have always been doing, which is creating the system together. And then that way we can compost it into something that is better. And perhaps we should do that on a very small scale. And as I'm writing this bookwork of notes, I'm thinking by myself, like, well, how am I going to contribute to this all? Because you are contributing to it. Don't fool yourself. You are, no matter what. If you're sitting at home with the door locked, watching as the world turns on your TV, you are also contributing to and co-creating to this collective system that we have. So how do I want to contribute to this, and what do I want my contribution to this ever evolving system to be? Well, that's something that I have given a lot of thought at the moment in the past winter, and that's why I've been fully out of everything, away from everything. And I am still in that journey. I am still thinking about that. I have some ideas, but I haven't come to a point that I think that it's viable yet. So I am a little bit reluctant. Is that a word? I think so. To share all this, because I want to have a solid story before I do, and I couldn't share just my everyday life while having this feeling inside that I really have to share this thing that is very real to me. So I am okay. Because some people worried because they didn't hear anything. I am okay. It is just that my mind has been very occupied by this thing. If you are watching this and you feel the same way about some things or a lot of things, or maybe you think I'm full of shit and you have an idea about that, don't hesitate to send me a message. My email address is Wijnja, like my last name, as in is on this channel everywhere probably. Wijnja's journey, homestead journey. Wijnja, so without the S, at life.nl with a V, life with a V, .nl. If you have idea, or just put a message here on this or on my social media channels. There on YouTube, they are up here somewhere in the header. If you go to the channel, and then you send me a message and let me know how you think about things, or how you feel about things, and maybe we can team up a little bit. And again, sometimes I just move off the radar because I'm fully diving into something. That's not you. That's not that I'm not interested in what you say, because I get a lot of good ideas. And I am looking for collaborations on this. I just use up all my headspace to do something like this, to dive into something like this, which I have been doing lately. So thank you all for subscribing. People still subscribe to this channel, even though I haven't posted anything in a long time. I haven't lost a single subscriber. People ask me how I'm doing and when I'm gonna post a new video, and that they miss me on social media, which is really cool to me. So thank you very much for that. I appreciate it a lot, and I believe that maybe through this media or in another way we can team up a little bit and maybe start something interesting. Share your ideas with me, and that would be really cool. I hope to post some more videos soon and continue doing this a little bit, but for now that was all I had to share. So thanks again, and I see you on the next one. Hey dope.